This is Big Chungus, the alligator snapping turtle. And he is going to be 3 in August, so he's, I don't know, say 2.5. I'll round up to 3 years old. And he's got an algae problem. And I have him here showing you really quickly a way to hold them to where they don't exhibit aggressive behavior. And again, what we view as aggressive behavior is actually defensive or scared behavior, usually. And see how I'm holding him toward my body, but down low. So if I held him up by my face, he would become very anxious and open his mouth because he would see eyes, and that becomes a dangerous threat to him because anything with eyes staring at him is going to eat him, he thinks. And even though these are captive bred animals, they are of course completely wild type behavior. They're not domesticated, obviously. Neither are bearded dragons for that matter, but regardless, here he is, not happy about being out of the water, but again, to kind of prevent a more aggressive behavior and keep him a little more calm and comfort him, I'm holding him in my hand kind of firmly, and they usually will put their feet like that, and I kind of real gently hold his feet so he has something to hold on to like that, and making him uncomfortable by jostling him. But you see that? Anyway, that's his underside, and he's also trying to get in his shell. And those of you familiar with snapping turtles know they cannot get in their shell, which makes them cuter, but they will tuck their tail to the side and pull their arms in and their head, and that's literally as much as they can get into their shell. And again, these are alligator snappers, so they are different and look different than common snapping turtles. And again, oh, here's some behavior showing beginning of, I don't want to say aggressive, but intimidated behavior, where they're going to start trying to scare off a threat, which is everything, of course. I would say me, but he loves me. And again, I just wanted to show you all the algae that they can get on their shell. And even though they're in captivity, excessive sunlight, or even any light, especially aquarium lights in general, you leave them on too long, and they will really give algae an opportunity to take over your tank and your animals. And alligator snappers have a real leathery shell, and doesn't like to be petted. And the classic 3 ridges, that is lacking in a common snapper. And he does not have a ridged tail, doesn't have those caudal scales, and he has a lot longer legs. Kind of interesting. And I don't know enough about the behavior of the alligator snappers. I've only had them about 3 years, and I've had common snappers my whole life. But again, I'm going to put a little bit of classic algae remover from the pet store. Doesn't really matter. I always use the kind in the yellow bottle, and I just kind of will drip that on a shell, 2 drops, and real gently rub it in. He hates it. It scares him. And then I'll put him in a small tub of water, and he'll soak in there. And then I'll take him out and put him back in the regular tank. Just because the algae remover, obviously, any chemicals aren't good, but I don't want him to sit in water that has that, because he's not a fish, obviously, and I don't want him to possibly have his eyes hurt from the chemicals. And again, real quickly, got off on a couple tangents, but again, point is, use care when addressing algae in a snapping turtle, any turtle. And use a couple drops, soak them in water. You don't need to scrape it off or anything. And then soak them in a little tub of water with the algae remover itself. Just maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 drops maximum. And then take them out after about a half hour and reduce the sunlight photo period a little bit. Because they'll get algae whether they're exposed to it or not. In the wild, I don't know why. They get it inside. and again, exhibiting a way to hold him in a less aggressive posture for him, meaning aggressive with his mouth open. As you can see, he's tucked up in his shell. So cute. You're so cute. And if I spun him around, and I'm not going to because he'll get really scared, if he faces outwards instead of toward your body, he gets really frightened and will immediately open his mouth and become scared. But he's not aggressive here, and I'm going to put him back in his tank.